about the years and let me buy an hour.
Okay, here's the deal. The Shins and Danger Mouse had a baby, and they called it Broken Bells. Well, sort of. After meeting at a Denmark music festival in 2004, James Mercer from the Shins and Brian Burton, aka Danger Mouse, already fans of each other's work, decided to combine forces and make some music. Already busy with their other gigs, it took about 4 years before they found time to work together, but it finally happened in 2008 when they began recording together at Burton's LA studio.
It's too late to change your mind.
Broken Bell's self-titled debut album was released in North America March 9th, 2010 to wide acclaim, and it ended up being among the year's highest charting debut albums. Not bad for a side project, but it isn't a side project anymore. In 2013, the band announced the release of After the Disco, the much-anticipated follow-up, which was released in February. With a desire to make things a little bit more up-tempo and drawing on some shared influences from some of their favorite 80s bands like Depeche Mode and The Cure, Broken Bells even managed to channel the Bee Gees with their new album. But don't get it twisted, After the Disco is not a disco album.
I want to talk about disco, not because I think that this is what the record's about at all, but I know that because disco's in the title and that title track has got that very Bee Gees-esque kind of layering of your falsettos, which sounds very cool. Disco really got a bad rap. Like, it really did. Like, there was a hate-on for disco.
Yeah, I remember that period. I remember, you know, kids writing disco sucks on their notebooks and stuff.
There were like protests against disco music.
Disco sucks was more of a trend than disco was, even.
Right?
Maybe,
it was. Is there stuff from that era that you really dig? Like, I mean,
Sure.
Bee Gees aside, I'm sure Bee Gees.
I like Bee Gees stuff. I like ABBA.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just great songs, right?
And still to this day, the culture of the nightclub is not, it's pretty, you know, it can be pretty lame or douchey. It's just an environment that, you know, is conducive to that. That dude does well in that environment. And I think if you get too much of that in society, you will rebel against it, you know?
Right, for sure.
Get that guy out of here.
Very recently, I've become obsessed with this idea of what things will be like in 30 years from now.
Oh man, there will be music. Right. That I believe. And I just don't know how you're gonna sort of ingest it. Maybe you will ingest it, literally.
The last thing I wanted to ask you about was this really fun Paul Schaefer interview I saw that you guys did, talking about Beatles stuff. It really seemed like this was the band that informed you guys a lot. I mean, I know everyone loves the Beatles, but just the conversation you were able to have with them, I felt like this is something that's in your musical DNA for sure.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest influence probably in what we do, but I'd say so.
Was it like the Sgt. Pepper stuff that you connected with more, or is it just the entire idea of it?
Sgt. Pepper's is a blatant example of when they really switched things up. And it was the first record that I really fell in love with.